time for me, that
That's
kind of
it.
a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the other, I was thinking of, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking more positive way. I mean, even if you do something, you fail, it's for your good. I mean, if you look at any situation, difficult situation in our life, something really bad happens, but you look at it from the different point of view. After some time, you realize if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be here.
Yes.
Things like that. So
Yeah.
we also very adhere in looking at something and reacting instantly. But
Yeah.
in long term plan from up there, Krishna is
Yeah.
different. There's always something positive in there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that kind of attitude trying to develop, because
Yeah.
these things will come. Yeah, that's practically how to actually approach it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so you should be. I mean, I think you should be positive. You look at, oh, what is the good thing in there? There will always be good thing, because as he
Yes.
said in Bhagavad Gita, he says, everyone. I'm not partial to anybody.
Yeah.
They are you're all my children. So he take cares of it. But we are so short-sighted. We just
Yeah.
look at things and bad thing you see and say,
Yeah.
oh, it's because we are this and that. But ultimately, I think to be positive is very good. You should
Yeah.
look at that, and always you will feel that after some time something has happened bad to you. There's always good thing happening around it,
Yes.
because something, and we look at the only the negative side of it. So yeah, I mean that practical aspect I want to develop. Looking at positive at everything.
Yeah.
That's good for me. He's doing it for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
that was good.
So
Yeah.
that's more mode of goodness. That knowledge, that what you're thinking about, that's being in the mode of goodness. So that's we want to cultivate that more,
Mm,
and that's a stepping stone for spiritual life. That will help us become more transcendental. If we
mm.
but first of all, we have to come to the mode of goodness and try to develop these qualities and full knowledge.
And mode of goodness, you can attain that. I mean, how can you what you can do to actually get into the mode of goodness?
Yeah.
So you're going through, I think good association is also good. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
first
I
thing I
mean,
think.
obviously, if you associate with people in the mode of goodness, then obviously that will help you to cultivate the mode of goodness,
Mm,
obviously, because you become exactly like the people that you associate with. See,
mm,
the difficulty is also that often, especially in a work situation, we're associating mainly with people in the mode of passion and ignorance.
mm, mm, mm,
So we've got to be very careful that we don't develop those qualities, because that's going down for us.
mm.
So we want to go up, not down. So, but there is another thing that can happen. If we're in the mode of goodness, for example, and we're associating with people in the mode of ignorance and passion, there's two things that can happen. Well, I've explained one that we could get pulled down into the mode of ignorance and passion, but what's another thing that could happen?
You can pull them up, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
so that's what we want. So
Mm,
you can't avoid associating with all kinds of people. Some, real ignorant people, real passionate people. Tamagun, Rajagun, the world's full of it. Especially in Kali Yuga, it's mainly Tamagun, Rajagun. There's not
mm,
much Sattvagun in Kali Yuga.
that's true.
So, but that can happen, and we see that with Prabhupada. Prabhupada, he left India, he came to the West. The West where he went, like New York in 1965, was full of Tamagun, Rajagun. All the hippies taking drugs and having lots of sex,
Mm,
and people were all meat eaters, and not many vegetarians at that time. Definitely not. And most people were atheistic and everything. So Prabhupada could have got pulled down into that.
mm,
But no, we see that one person pulled up thousands. He pulled up thousands of them, and they gave up all their happy habits and they became like him. He made them all sadhus, by his association. So it is possible that you can pull up other people around you, but you've got to strongly value your culture. Like Prabhupada strongly valued who he was. He knew who he was. He's a servant of Krishna, and he was very strong in his values. He didn't compromise. Like he didn't. If someone offered him to eat meat or whatever, he wouldn't take it. He kept sitting on the floor and not at the table, and kept wearing a dhoti and not wearing, trousers and things like that, and kept his short hair, not having, long hair like a hippie and things like that. So he strongly valued his culture. I'm not saying we have to do all of those things, wear a dhoti to work or anything like that. But definitely we should have values, like being a vegetarian, for example, and like that we believe in God and these kind of things, and that we believe in the soul and that we're eternal and all these kind of things. So we should stick strongly to those values and not compromise on those things. And like being truthful and honest, and straightforward. Don't become a liar, and we're not going to compromise that. We're not going to tell lies and cheat people and things like that. So maintain that culture of being, and being clean, having a shower every day and putting on clean clothes, and we're not going to compromise that, and and be dirty and everything like that. No, we're going to keep clean body, clean hair and everything like that, and not become rough and and we're not going to sleep too much, and like that. We're going to maintain good habits and things like that. So if we're strong in that, then other people become inspired. I know when I was working, and Jayanti also, my wife, that that people around us, they became attracted to our behavior, to our habits, and they ask questions. And I know my wife, she distributed many books, and she worked in a government, in the Department of Internal Affairs in New Zealand, a big thing. And she influenced many people in the organization. And she we know they'd have work meetings, and they'd go out to eat somewhere, and she told her boss, she can't eat meat, and she doesn't want to eat in eat in a place where they cook meat and that. So the boss went out of his way to have the meeting in a vegetarian restaurant. And they even went to Hare Krishna restaurants, because there was a prasadam. So she influenced, all of her team to go to not only vegetarian restaurant, but have prasadam and everything like that. And she distributed many books at her work, like vegetarian cookbooks, and also Bhagavad Gita and Krishna book. And even her boss had a Krishna book, all Krishna Lila. And this guy, he's like an atheist, and not only a meat eater, but he also ran another business where they were selling chickens and things like that, like a chicken, like KFC kind of thing. And Subway. Oh, she said Subway. So like he ran a Subway too, his wife and him. And but he would come to work, and he would ask her, like, Krishna was very naughty, wasn't he? And things like that. And because he'd been reading the stories. He'd been reading, and he would make comments about Krishna. So like that, you can influence people very positively, rather than be dragged down by them. But you try to give your association to the other people. Don't take on their association. You're satisfied with your culture, with your life. You're not wanting what they have. You're not wanting what they have. You're just doing your duty, and you're trying to give your association to the other people. Try to help to uplift them, to help them to be more happy. And that's a very good situation to be in on. So yeah, like you say, association is very important. And whenever we can, we should try to get some association with devotees, or other people in the mode of goodness. And that will be like a booster for us. So then when you go out and you associate with people in ignorance and passion, you've got your boost by that satsanga, sadhu sangha. You're doing nice bhajans and katar and everything like that, and then you feel enlivened, and you can go and help other people. But if you never get a boost, then there is a good chance that you're gradually going to get drained out. You're gonna so you have to recharge. Very important to get a recharge. Even like this, once a week, we hear some philosophy, It's like a bit of a boost. It keeps us on track, bit of a recharge. Then you go back out and, you know, face the world and all the crazy stuff. And
yeah, no, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, you're all week. You're with work and kids and everything, and then you just come and just, you know, Saturday is the day where you just go, you know, think about things, just relaxed a bit. Yeah, that's good.
Getting grounded again.
Yeah, that's
getting
right.
Grounded.
It's like, that's so true. I mean, it's very beneficial. I think I like it. Yeah, but I miss your Thursday class, but I actually hear it. I actually the recording you upload. So I just this morning I actually listened to it. Yeah, the one point you said in that was about how you can be, you know, chanting to an ant or animal or something about it. That was quite interesting in saying that.
That's good that you remembered that. That's a fact according to the Lord and the scriptures. That the loud chanting of Hare Krishna can benefit the plants and the bugs and everything by loudly chanting. That's one thing too, that, you know, some people have the opinion it's better to chant in the mind. Chant in the mind, just softly or in the mind, and not verbalize it. But one of the benefits of loudly chanting is that it benefits not only ourselves but all the other living entities around us. But if you chant in your mind, then no one else benefits. Of course, another reason is that our mind generally in Kali Yuga is very disturbed and very crazy, very agitated. So if you loudly chant, it helps us to get it in our own head, in our own mind. Whereas if you softly chant or in the mind, it's more harder to control the mind. But if you loudly Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, then that helps to overpower the mind more easily. So it has many benefits there that allow chanting. Of course, in certain circumstances, you might not want to loudly chant. You know, other people around you might get disturbed, especially if they're atheists. But if you go walking in the park, if you're walking in the park or on the beach or something like that, or, you know, in certain situations, you might chant more loudly or at least softly, even softly chanting those vibrations. Those vibrations do have an effect. Definitely, they do have an effect.
Yes, really. Good.
Okay, let's continue.
All right, let's get, So we are on number 4.
Yeah, so we just chant the Sanskrit and then go read the verse and then continue in the purport. Anejadekam manaso javiyo.
Anejad ekam manaso javiyo.
Naina deva apnuvan purvam arshat.
Naina deva apnuvan purvam arshat.
Tadavatonyan atyeti tishtat.
Tadhavatonyan atyeti tishtat.
Tasmin apo matarishva dadati.
Tashmin apo matarishva dadati.
Narendra, would you like to read the translation?
Yes. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all other runnings. The powerful demigod can approach him, although in one place he the powerful demigod cannot approach him, although in one place he controls those who supply air and rain. He surpasses all in excellence.
So now we're starting to get some detailed information about who is God. We've been hearing about how there is a supreme controller, Ishavasya Madam Savam. So there's an Isha, a controller of everything. And that, you know, like I said, he gives everyone a quota of his property. It's all his property. It's all God's property. He's in control of it. He owns it. And he gives everyone a share, all of his children, a share of his property. So now we're starting to get some more detailed information about who is God, that he has a particular home where he lives, that's the Vaikuntha, and that he has the qualities that we have, but he has it in a super excellent way. Like he can run, like we can run, right? We can run, but his running, he's faster than anybody else. So it's not that, oh, God is just some energy and he can't walk, he can't see, he can't talk. No, not like that. Some people say like that. The impersonalists, Mayavadis, say that God is impersonal. He has no form, he has no names, nothing like that. So here, this is contradicting that impersonalist Mayavad philosophy, that actually God is a person. That's very important to understand, that God is a person, but he's a spiritual person. We should not compare his personality to our personality. He's not a material person, he's a spiritual person, means he's unlimited. Or as it finishes off saying, he surpasses all in excellence. So every single quality of the Lord's is super excellent in his beauty, in his knowledge, in his wealth, in his fame, in his renunciation, and where he lives. His home is the most excellent home, and he's the fastest person, and every single quality he has to the topmost degree. So this is what this verse is explaining to us. And he's so great that even the powerful demigods, they can't even approach him. His position is so great. Just like, small people in Australia, New Zealand, they don't have much position. They can't just approach the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of Australia or the Prime Minister of New Zealand. You can't just go up and see them. They're so important person. Even we might be the CEO of some company or whatever, but you just can't go and see them. So the demigod's position in comparison to Bhagavan's position is very small. I mean, from our point of view, wow, Indra is so great. Chandra, Surya, Durga, Shiva, Brahmaji, they're so great compared to us. But compared to Bhagavan, they're very small. Compared to Bhagavan, they're very small. So we're hearing here, even the demigods, just whenever they feel like it, they can't, just approach the Lord. His position is so great. So great. Okay, so let's continue, shall we?
Okay.
So yeah, we read the first paragraph, so the second one, although.
Okay, although his energies are innumerable, they can be divided into three principal categories: the internal potency, the marginal potency, and the external potency. There are hundreds and millions of subheadings to each these categories. The dominating demigods, who are empowered to control and administer such natural phenomena as air, light, and rain, are classified within the marginal potency of the absolute person. Lesser living beings, including humans, also belong to Lord's marginal potency. The material world is the creation of Lord's external potency, and the spiritual sky where the kingdom of God is situated is the manifestation of his internal potency.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. So, because the translation mentions the demigods and that they can't approach the Lord, so Prabhupada's explaining about the demigods. So they fit into the marginal potency of the Lord. It's called Tatastha Shakti. Tatastha Shakti. So Shakti is energy and Tatastha means marginal. So marginal means in the middle. You can go either one side or another side. That is the margin. Like at the beach, that where the sea meets the land, that's called the tata, the tata star. That place is where the sea meets the land. That's the margin. That's the margin there. So we're tatasta, we're marginal, meaning the soul. On one side is the material world, and the other side is the spiritual world. So we're like, we can go either way. We can either go into the material world, or we can go into the spiritual world. So we're on the margin, we're in between. So we can go either way. So Prabhupada's saying the Lord has unlimited energies. He has vast energies, but they're categorized in 3 different divisions. So one is, he says, is the internal energy, which is called the Antaranga Shakti. Very good. Antaranga Shakti, yeah. Good. And then, like I said, the Tatastha Shakti, marginal. And then the external energy, that's called Bahiranga. Bahir means
out.
outside.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, outside. So Bahiranga Shakti. And like he says, within each division, there's thousands and millions of subdivisions. Subcategories like that. So the idea is his vast, unlimited energies, so vast energies, the Lord. And he's such a great personality. And we're a personality also, like the Lord, and we have a small amount of energies, isn't it? Like we have so many energies that we're able to work with and function, with our intelligence and our mind and our senses and different energies there. And like this talking that we're doing, that's an energy. That's an energy that's talking. And hearing that we're hearing, that's an energy. So these are different energies that are working. And with our energy, we can create a house, we can create an organization, we can create a family, with our energies. So that's a very small scale. But you just magnify that to understand the Lord. He's doing these same things, but on a very great scale, on a very big scale.
Yes. That's right.
So you can actually understand. You can get an understanding of God by understanding yourself. How you tick. You can understand how the Lord ticks, but on a bigger scale.
Okay, yeah.
So that's you can apply that technique to understand God. You think about how you function, and because our functioning, our thinking, everything, like our desiring, everything like that, where does that come from, do you think? What's the origin? What's the source of all of our behavioral patterns and all these kind of things?
As the Bhagavad Gita says, we are, the emanation from Krishna. So we are basically his part and parcel. So part have the same property as the whole, isn't it?
Exactly. But obviously to great
quantitatively very small.
Yeah, so quantitatively much greater, but qualitatively the same.
Same.
So just like we want to be loved, Krishna also wants. So he has the gopis and Nanda Baba and Yashoda Mai and Devaki and Vasudeva and Arjuna and Pandavas and so much loving relationships. And he wants to give love. So he wants to receive love. I mean, we want to give love and receive love, to be loved and to love. And so where does that come from? It comes from him. And he's the ultimate lover and beloved, like that. So all these propensities that we have, it's coming from him. That's the source. Aham Savasya Prabhavo. He's the source of everything in the material world and the spiritual world, like that. And just like, we like to enjoy with our family, and so he also enjoys with his family. That's the source of that. Just like we like to play. When we're young, we're playing all the time, and then we're forced, we have to go to school and so forth like that, and then have to go to work. But still, the older people, they play golf, they play tennis, they go on their yacht, and there's some recreation. So where does that come from, that propensity to like to do some recreation, some kind of playful activities? It comes from the Lord. Where he's playing, he loves to play with his friends. So that playful tendency that we have, it comes from him. So, but the thing is, in him, all these qualities are pure. All these qualities are pure. Whereas in us, we're trying to imitate him. We try to imitate him, and it becomes perverted. Like his exchanges with his devotees is pure love. It's called prema. It's pure love. There's no exploitation. There's no lust. But in us, we try to imitate his loving relationships, and it becomes calm. It becomes, lustful, and we exploit others and for our gratification and everything like that. So it's like a perversion. So the pure love has become lust. So the idea in spiritual practice is to turn that lust back into love again. So we turn that karma back into prema. And that's the bhakti yoga process, is to reawaken that love. And we all have that propensity, but it's just perverted. So we've just got to turn it around. And it's explained, the definition is that calm means the desire to please our own senses. That's what calm is. That lust. Lust means the desire to please our own senses, whether that be our nose, our tongue, our eyes, our ears, our genitals, our touch, or whatever. Our senses, we want to gratify, please our own senses. And that the term used in all the books is sense gratification. Sense gratification. So you'll read that many times, sense gratification. So that's what lust is. We want to we want to gratify or satisfy our own senses. Now, love is the opposite to that, which is the desire, still desire, but the desire to satisfy whose senses? Not my senses, God's senses, Krishna's senses. So the desire to satisfy Krishna's senses, that's prema. That's the difference between lust and love. The one is the desire to please my own senses, and one's the desire to please the Lord's senses. But there's a big difference between the two. And if we try to satisfy our own senses, we get frustrated and we're never satisfied, and there's no real happiness in that. And we just want more and more and more, and we become greedy and so forth, and then angry, and it's a big entangling process. But love, if we develop pure love, we become completely satisfied, completely happy, and Krishna is happy, and then we're happy, and then it's a superb situation. So like that. So in the Lord, everything he does is completely perfect. Just like, I'll give you an example. The Lord is famous as Makanchor. You'd be familiar with that, right?
Yes.
That he has a tendency, and in some of his pastimes, to steal. Chor means thief. The chor means thief. Now, in the material world, being a thief is not good. And it has a very bad effect to be a thief. But and you could say, well, where does that stealing comes from? That also comes from the Lord, and it's true, because he steals. But when the Lord steals, what's the result? You tell me. When the Lord steals butter and yogurt and feeds it to the monkeys and does all kind of things like that from the houses of other gopis and gopas, what's the result of that?
He's doing for others, I guess. I mean, yeah, and the other thing is that he's not stealing somebody else's property. Usually he will go and he will take his mother's, so she's churning the butter from the yogurt or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's what I can think. But
he would go to other people's houses also and take these as well. He would take both from his own house and from others' houses. I mean, of course, philosophically, everything belongs to him, because
Oh
he
yeah, so
created it.
you can't, yeah,
You
he
can't
cannot.
really
Yeah,
call
that's
him a thief.
it.
But from an external point of view, he was stealing, other people's products, like their dairy products. But the point I want to talk about specifically is, what was the outcome of his stealing? Was it a good outcome or a bad outcome?
I think it won't be bad, I guess, because he's touching something, and then probably, I mean, one way of thinking is he's touching that butter, so somebody whosoever eats, he also gets the purity, or I mean,
Yeah.
it helps him, as you said, prashadam. But
Yeah.
I don't know the philosophical part of it.
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
you tell me.
So it increased all the gopas and gopis' love for him more and more. He would go to their house, and that would actually give an opportunity for them to see him and to talk
Ah,
about him.
mm,
So the end result, and they would go, they would go to Krishna's mother and father, Yashoda and Nanda, and make some complaints externally that your son is stealing our butter and everything like that, and breaking our pots and all this kind of stuff. And it's externally they're complaining, but just by talking about Krishna, they became ecstatic, feeling bhav, great ecstasy, and they couldn't
mm,
stop talking about Krishna. And and Mother Yashoda, sometimes she would say, oh, okay, we will lock him up and we won't let him,
yeah.
so he won't come in. And they said, no, don't lock him up. We don't want to cause him any problem, and like that. They loved him so much. It was just, so all these activities that he did, the effect that it had is it increased their love for him more and more.
Mm,
So it had a very positive result. So the point is that whatever Krishna does is good, because he's all good. So whatever Krishna does has a good result, because he's pavitram. He's the purest person. It doesn't matter what he does, it has a very pure result.
mm.
I'll give you another example. And this is a very graphic one, and people would think, well, how can that be positive? Krishna, many times, he killed people on the
Yes.
earth. That's one of his main missions. Paritranaya sadhunam vanashaya chaduskrutam. So in the Bhagavad Gita, he says his mission is to kill the demons and to protect the devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam, to deliver the devotees, and vanashaya duskriti. So vanashaya means he annihilates. So he annihilates demons. So who did he kill? I mean, it's a long list. I can't name them all.
Mm,
He killed
yeah.
he killed Putana. He killed uh, Trinavarta,
Hiranyakashipu.
Agasura, Kamsa,
Mm,
Dantavakra, Shishupal, like that. It's a long list. One example, Shishupal was blaspheming him. He was criticizing him. He had the benediction when he was born that no, it was predicted when he was born that he would be killed by Krishna. There was in the astrology predicted he would be killed by Krishna. So when his mother found that out, she went to Krishna and said, please don't kill my son. And Krishna said, I'll allow him to criticize me, blaspheme me up to 100 times. But only up to 100 times. So he was always insulting Krishna. He was very envious of Krishna. Actually, he was supposed to it was arranged that he would get married to Rukmini.
oh.
Rukmini's brother Rukmi was a friend of Shishupal, and Rukmi wanted his sister to get married to Shishupal. So he arranged that marriage, but Rukmini, of course, didn't want to marry Shishupal. She wanted to marry Krishna. So she sent a message to Krishna, and Krishna came and kidnapped her. So Shishupal hated Krishna after that,
Okay.
and he was always criticizing Krishna. But Krishna tolerated, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. And Yudhisthira did a big yagya called Rajasuya Yagya. And he called, all the devas came and all the kings came, and they did a big sacrifice and everything. And in the beginning of the yagya, the ritual, the first thing you have to do, the Adi Puja, is you have to worship the most exalted person in that assembly. So it was put forward that Krishna should be worshipped first, that he's the greatest person in the assembly. And then Shishupal stood up and said, no, there's many other great people, like Lord Shiva is here. He is so great because of this and this and this and this. And there's Narada Rishi is here, and he is so great because of this and this and this and this. So and Brahmaji is here. He's the father of everyone, and so forth like that. And then he was saying, and Krishna, he is this, and he is a thief, and he stole, my wife, and all this, and then he's criticizing and everything. So 96, 97, 98, like that came to 100 times. Krishna pulled out Sudarshan Chakra, and he let it go. and it took Shishupal's head clean off in the assembly. And then the Jivatma, the soul, came out of Shishupal's dead body, came out of his body, and it hovered in the air for a few moments, and that brilliant spiritual spark hovered, and then it entered into Krishna's body. That soul entered into Krishna's body. So, and it said there that, so what happened is Shishupal, being killed by Krishna, he got purified of all of his pap, all of his sins on the spot, became completely liberated. And his soul merged into Krishna's body, and from there it went to the Vaikuntha. So it didn't mean that Shishupal became Krishna, but he merged with Krishna, and then from there went to the Vaikuntha. So he got moksha, mukti, on the spot. So even if Krishna kills someone, he's so pure that person becomes completely purified of all of their current contamination, all their lifetimes of contamination, of being in Maya and illusion and everything, Tamagun, Rajagun. It's all completely cleared off. So that Krishna is all good. It doesn't matter what he does, all of his activities produce a brilliant result like that because he's so pure. So very fortunate. And the first demon Krishna killed was Putana. He was just a few days old, and she was a witch, and she had taken the form of a beautiful woman and went in there to Nanda and Yashoda's house, and she smeared poison on her breast, and Krishna sucked that milk, but instead of, and he sucked the poison, but instead of dying as anyone else would have, he completely purified her, and he sucked out the poison, and he sucked out her prana, her life air, and she died. So she died, and but because, although she was trying to kill Krishna, her intention was bad, but Krishna took something very good out of it. He found something very good. What was a good thing? She was behaving like a mother by giving milk. So Krishna overlooked that you tried to kill me with poison, and he said, you were behaving like my mother by giving me milk. So I'll make you one of my mothers in Vaikuntha. So that's what happened. She got liberated, and she went straight to Vaikuntha and became like a nurse mother of Krishna in the Vaikuntha, and the spirit.